Welcome to the Broken Pencil Booking Company Pro Wrestling Podcast infused with hip hop. I am Wood.
Made daily with organic, farm to table, localized, neuralized, sterilized, Scotch guarded for 2020 repellent, available online, not available on Sundays, Broken Pencil Logic. You stay classy, internet. I'm Suave Burgundy.
Yeah. It has been far too long since we have convened, sir.
These are truths. I am yet holding on. I am yet holding on to his unchanging hand. And you, sir?
Better than I deserve, but not as good as I look.
Okay. I see we on our mid to late 80s World Championship Wrestling promo game today.
I'm on my Durham Bush. Yeah, I'm on it.
Because to the untrained eye, that would have looked like a Denver Broncos retro logo shirt.
This is definitely a Durham Bulls AAA baseball T-shirt.
AAA.
Yeah, and it is an official Durham Bulls AAA baseball T-shirt. Yes, sir. Wow. Well, before we get too deep into the weeds here, today's date.
Stay out of the weeds.
Friday, March 27th. Year of our Lord.
Year of our Lord.
I said the year of our Lord.
Year of our Lord.
20 and 26.
Mafia.
And may I also add,
that takes a whole new feel after some of the events of IMOC. But continue.
Boy. It has been
everything.
The month still remains the International Month of Cool for those not in the know and for the uninitiated. Let that be a factoid. Let me throw that in there again. First things first, SerwinVega.com, Serwin Vega Pro Audio, for all of your pro audio needs, OEM replacement audio, motorcycle audio, Bluetooth audio, studio monitors, earbuds now. Suave, we got nautical audio. Where we at?
On a boat.
And don't have oil on that thing either. Please don't have oil in your boat. Have oil in the boat, but not on the boat. Got me.
Everybody just relax.
Henry Gary, what up? VitaHermosaCigars.com is the website. It's a beautiful life. We will be at Chatola once again, North Carolina, for a Pro-Am. Actually, it's a Pro-Am benefit golf tournament, May 15th, 16th, and 17th, featuring NCAA Division I past and present coaches and a few other professional luminaries. I don't know who's on the agenda for this year, but if it was anything like last year, the update for the show after that will be amazing. Vita Hermosa Cigars, it is a beautiful life. Smoking cigars is not a safe alternative to smoking cigarettes.
We need an event with a sandwich shop, and we call it Stogies and Hoagies.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
Need a cheesesteak vendor
or a chopped cheese vendor, because we like that.
Oh, this is true because of your geographical positioning.
Yeah, son. Talk to me, son.
Talk to me nice, bro.
BPBC.com. I'm sorry, tinyurl.com/BPBC merch. All of your BPBC tailored needs, if you will. Past, present, future. We also have the 20% off for IMOC sale going on. And if you buy 4, number 5 for free on me.
Bing bong. Use code BPBC merch at checkout. No spaces. All one word.
Oh, and on the Serwin Vega.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. BPBC Big Belt giveaway. I almost ruined that.
BPBC BBG.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me act like I know what I'm doing and check the graphic. Rusty, dude. Pause. And as it plays, oh, you can absolutely continue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have BC BBG at checkout for 20% off.
Yeah, the Serwin Vega.
We're gonna let that roll for a while. You know what? We're gonna let it roll into April.
Because we got new merch coming.
Indeed, we do.
So yeah,
Indeed, we do.
Yeah, and you definitely want to take part of that. On the Serwin Vega .com, the Serwin Vega website, enter code BPBC and check out 10% off your order, whatever the order is, 10% off. That's Henry and Gary. Yeah, we had a couple of major blows, and I want to drop the music for these real quick. Off the top of the head, two for sure. In the world of professional wrestling, one half of one version of one of the most infamous heel tag teams in the history of professional wrestling, highly regarded as one at one time the best tag team in pro wrestling, the Midnight Express. Dennis Condrey passed away at the age of 74, I believe. Very tragic loss, but the pain is over. So we're going to dedicate this episode to the friends and family, and of course, to the one and only Loverboy Dennis Condrey of the Midnight Express. Also, one of the biggest blows that is one of the biggest sleeper blows to music and hip hop in general. DJ Lord Sear, also known as Steve Watson, passed away a couple of weeks ago, suddenly at the age of 52. For those of you who only know Lord Sear from Shade 45 on Sirius XM, before that, he was part of a boot. It was, I wouldn't necessarily call it a bootleg, but it was more like an archival DVD series called Kung Fu, where they would overdub with like silly hip hop overdubs and stuff. And so he was part of that. Basically a takeoff of Kung Fu Theater from Saturdays. He also did some voices for the Eminem show, the cartoon or the animated DVD set that came out right after the Marshall Mathers LP. He also was one half of the game radio on GTA 3 with Stretch Armstrong. And the tie-in there was he actually got his start in radio with Stretch Armstrong and Bobito the Barber at WKCR 89.9, or as they called it, 89 Tech 9, back in the 90s on their radio show, who broke literally every New York artist known to man and some West Coast artists. If you name them, they've been through there. Jay-Z, Big L, Pharoah Monch, Prince Poe, collectively known as Organized Confusion, the entire Wu-Tang Clan as a collective. Also, when they broke solo, they went back to KCR to see Stretch and Bobito and Sear. Dilated Peoples, even Sway and Tech patterned their show, the Wake Up Show on the West Coast, after what they were doing on the East Coast. And you can find out more about the Stretch and Bobito show and Lord Sear's tie-in with that on Showtime in a documentary called Radio That Changed Lives. So, and he was also an avid Funk 45 collector. Actually had a Funk 45 collection out through, I believe it was through Fresh Records, and just a music connoisseur all the way around, music producer, freestyle MC, part of the CM Mob or Constipated Monkeys with Dante Ross and Curious George. So like the list goes on and on for his accolades and his credits, but more than anything, he was a gatekeeper to DJs in New York City. So a lot of the DJs that you hear mixing on Shade 45 that are actually able to get gigs now got their start because of Lord Sear on Shade 45. So this show is definitely dedicated to the mighty Lord Sear. May you continue to rest in peace, and Dennis Condrey, may you continue to rest in peace. 10 bell salute at the end of the show. All right, did I get everything so far, Suave?
I think you're on point here.
Yeah, all right, cool. I think that was necessary considering what's been going on a personal level on my side and on your side this month. I think that was necessary to start the show that way.
Indeed.
Now that said, let's get back to the bullshit.
I knew. See, that's I knew that was coming after the adulting that you were doing. I knew.
Yeah.
Immediately back to the bullshit. So now here I am,
immediately
ready to tag in. I'm not holding the tag rope.
So there was a couple of well, actually not a couple. AEW had a pay-per-view where we saw one of the most dastardly Texas death matches. I really hope we see the end of the Texas death match behind that. We'll talk about that in a future episode at some point because we ain't got enough time to talk about the bullshit of that fiasco.
My goodness.
You end the show with blood on the camera. You talking about how pivotal that was. Boy, that cashmere coat. Boy, man.
I mean, look, everybody wasn't here for the first time ECW was a thing.
This is very true.
Everybody who's watching wrestling now may not have been watching wrestling when ECW passed through or when it influenced what became the Attitude Era or anything in that window. So to some people, this is their first time seeing, I don't want to call it shock value, but just seeing a not so sanitized presentation of professional wrestling.
I mean, we already had it. This is the second time that we've seen in a match, including Hangman Adam Page, a hypodermic needle injected through the mouth. There's a reason why we call him Hangnail. I don't know what the idea of that was. But you said we ain't got time to get into that match, so it's like there's a lot. That's a whole show.
Yeah, but the hypodermic needle, it just the purpose didn't make sense to me.
And you shot it through the jaw and only pushed the plunger for visual effect. It does. If the liquid ain't going into the injected area, you're doing nothing but creating a piercing. All he did was give that man a jaw piercing.
Pretty much. So it's the visual, but the execution of the entire spot ends up not being as effective because, as you said, you're shooting liquid. You're not shooting it anywhere.
In the air. In the air.
At least when they did it to Swerve, the idea was
he numbed him.
You basically hit him with a numbing agent so he couldn't defend himself.
Yeah,
which was a bit much, but still, at least the premise, followed through to the execution. On this one is just like, nah, let me just stick some in your mouth. Pause.
And here we are. But believe it or not, that's not even what's got us even like up in arms right now. Once again, WWE outdumbs themselves. The Hall of Fame for 2026, the inductees list is getting longer and longer. And so far, as we have that, naturally the first one is going to be Stephanie McMahon, who was announced last year during the WrestlePalooza, courtesy of The Undertaker. The next one that was announced was AJ Styles, apparently unbeknownst to him upon his retirement on Monday Night Raw. We also got Demolition, Axe and Smash, in which case we're wondering where does Brian Adams fit in this, aka Crush, or does he at all? More than likely, the answer to that is not, unless something happens between now and WrestleMania. The Celebrity Hall of Fame inductee this year is Dennis Rodman, and former member of the NWO, if you remember, but no doings in WWE whatsoever. But then we have the legacy wing. We have Psycho Sid, aka Sid Vicious, and Bad News Brown being inducted into the legacy wing. Before I go into why I have questions about this whole legacy wing situation, I'm going to run through some past WWE Hall of Fame legacy wing inductees, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the legacy wing was started in 2016. Yeah, and I'm correct. Yes, it was 2016.
Okay.
And
so for WrestleMania 32.
Was that 32?
100%.
Oh, all right. Take your word for it.
Not only was I there, I was there.
Yeah, but you don't even remember this legacy stuff. I had to make you remember it. But
I mean, because the Hall of Fame ain't been shit in 20 years. Like, what we talking about?
back to Mundo. So the first inductees, which this makes sense because these were all, first generation professional wrestling pioneers: Art Thomas, Ed Lewis, Fred Gotch, George Hackenschmidt, Lou Thesz, Mildred Burke, Pat O'Connor. That makes sense. 2017 is a who's who of people minus 2 people that most people who are alive do not either know or remember. Bearcat Wright, Dr. Jerry Graham, Haystacks Calhoun, Judy Grable, June Byers, Luther Lindsay, Martin Burns, Ricky Dozen, and Pitts Mont. Ricky Dozen is the only one, and I'm sorry, Ricky Dozen and Haystacks Calhoun are the only ones for people that are current wrestling fans may even know or remember. Understandable. These people deserve to be in the Hall of Fame regardless.
I knew those 2, and there was a couple other ones you mentioned that I was familiar with, but I agree. Yeah,
Fast
Rico
forward.
Dozen.
Ricky Dozen, yeah, Rico. I made that man with all melanin. 2018.
Rico Dozier.
Lord Alfred Hayes, Hiro Matsuda, Jim Lundis, Rufus R. Jones, Stan Stasiak, Sputnik Monroe. Of those, the only one I'm not familiar with is Jim Lundis.
I've heard the name, but I don't know the discography. Yeah.
This is where I start scratching my head.
Okay.
2019. Primo Carnera, don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
Toru Tanaka, wait a minute. Wahoo McDaniel,
there we go.
Borderline, I'll rock with you. SD Special Delivery Jones, Borderline, I'll rock with you. Luna Vachon. Now, the only commonality between all of these people is the fact that these people have been deceased at the time that the legacy awards were given out for them to be inducted to the Hall of Fame.
So when you say Borderline, I'll rock with you, what you mean?
So SD Jones was part of
Fringe Hall of Famer?
No. They may be Hall of Famers, but why are they in the legacy wing when they were Luna was part of the Attitude Era? SD Special Delivery Jones was part of WrestleManias 1 and 2.
And set the record for the fastest pin
at the time. Yes.
Yeah, at the time.
At the time. And Wahoo was very prevalent during the 80s with the United States Championship.
Thanks.
One of the flag bearers for the US Championship, if I'm being honest. We can keep going. 2020, we know that was 2020. That was a weird one. We remember what we were doing in 2020. We were inside. But hear me on these. Baron Michelle Leon. Don't know who that is. It's okay. But the rest of these: Brickhouse Brown, Playboy Gary Hart, Raider Crippler Stevens, Dr. Death Steve Williams. That's your legacy wing.
Wait, one more time.
Baron Michelle Leon, Brickhouse Brown, Playboy Gary Hart,
Playboy,
Ray the Crippler Stevens, Dr. Death Steve Williams.
That's this year?
No, that's 2020.
Okay.
Dr. Death Steve Williams, very similar in the 80s and 90s, and also part of the Attitude Era, and were infamous for the Brawl for All with Bart Gunn. But also, these guys had also recently passed. Understood. Fast forward. 2021. Pistol Pez Watley. Paul Bosch, which I don't know why Paul Bosch didn't go in with George Hackenschmidt and the rest of them. I mean, other than the fact that he was in the 70s and 80s as a promoter, that's another conversation. Ethel Johnson also could have gone in the 2016 class. Dick the Bruiser, definitely this fits. Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer.
Look, I don't understand with some of the stories I have heard and had corroborated about Buzz Sawyer. I don't know how he made it into anyone's Hall of Fame, in particular this one.
He ran off. I'm sorry. He was the plug and ran off with the bag on the Undertaker, on Magnum TA, on his own brother Brett Wayne Sawyer, who preceded him in death, and a host of others apparently.
Like you are a Hall of Fame thief, is what you are.
I was telling Suave the other day when we brought up Buzz Sawyer. At one point, Buzz Sawyer was chasing Magnum TA across 3 territories, and they didn't really feud. Help me understand how I'm going to work with you professionally, knowing you have my money in your pocket. I've cut off more for less.
Nah, you got bread that belongs to me, and you've taken it from me, and I finally catch up with you.
And I have to see you in not one, but not 2, but 3 different areas that span across half of the United States.
We not working. I'm gonna work you. That's how that's gonna go. We not working. I'm gonna work you with a tire iron until I get my money or I get my money's worth.
Let's fast forward. We go back outside in 2022. No legacy situation there. All right, cool. 2023, no legacy situation there. Cool. 2024, no legacy situation there. Why did this appear? We come back to 2025. Dory Funk Sr. Okay, I'm rocking with that. Ivan Koloff. For those of you who don't know, outside of being one of the mad Russians in WCW and Jim Crockett Promotions, Uncle Ivan, as we put it, the one that created a Russian sympathizer from Crusher Darso and turned him into Crusher Khrushchev, later known as Repo Man, for those who don't know.
Shout out to
Smash and Demolition.
yeah.
He was also a WWF champion. Most people don't know that or remember that, but yes, he held the big belt. And then the last one, which is a jaw dropper, but at the same time, again, he had just recently passed away, so it kind of makes sense. Kamala.
What doesn't make sense for me about it is why that man had to wait so long to go into this Hall of Fame for as many casket match L's as he had to take to the Undertaker. I think he's pretty seminal in the helping of developing the Undertaker's persona and streak. Like what are we doing? Why is he just now going in the last decade when that man put in 30 years of work before that?
He had 2 or 3 different characters in World Class, was made popular, or I'd say it's arguable, was made popular, most popular either in World Class or Mid-South, depending on your perspective.
For me, it was World Class, but that's
not because of location, naturally, yes.
Location.
Location is everything. That's why wrestling was regional, and that's why certain regions have more impact to certain individuals when they watched it. I was privileged to see him in 3 different territories, so I can take my pick.
Dolo from state to state.
Rose Dolo from Listen, Nebraska. But then we get to Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid.
Sid Beauty.
Sid Vicious was the man for the entire 80s that when he wrestled, started, I want to say around 84, 85, ran the 90s.
No, because this is the first time I've ever heard he was that active in the mid 80s.
Memphis. He was Memphis. It was straight Memphis, Continental to be exact.
Memphis 10
or mid Southern at the time.
Okay.
Before they merged with USWA. And then eventually the AWA. WCW had him because he already had a name in the South. It tagged him with people like, I don't know, Me, Mark Calloway. Oh, I don't know. Dangerous Dan Spivey. Having managed by, I don't know. BPBC Hall of Famer Teddy Long.
Theo.
Theo. Goes to WCW. Or sorry, goes to WWF and is Sid Justice.
Mm-hmm.
He is the good version of his bad self. Leaves for a minute, comes back as Psycho Sid. Closest thing you could get to Sid Vicious. Goes to WCW, becomes Sid Vicious again in all his glory, and begins feuding with the NWO, where he becomes more infamous for his promos than his matches. But his in-ring career as we knew it came to a crashing halt, and I believe this was at Sold Out in 2000 against Scott Steiner. It may have been 2001, right before WCW shut its doors. In a match against Scott Steiner for the WCW World Title, Sid Vicious jumps off the top rope, which he has never done, and has a compound fracture of his leg in the match, ultimately causing the 1, 2, 3 to happen much faster than it was supposed to. And we got a chance to see that mangled leg on live pay-per-view television.
Fam, that was
dear Lord.
That was not a good time.
Sid said, screw you guys, I'm going home. His passion was always softball. So he went back to West Memphis, Arkansas, and played some softball. And I don't know what happened as far as the relationship with WWE and Sid, or Sid's family in WWE. But Sid had a lot of issues regarding a certain plant that is legalized in almost half of the United States at this point, and caused him to get into some trouble, which led people to not talk about Hall of Fame qualifications with Sid Vicious. My question to you, Suave, before we get into Bad News Brown.
Okay.
Vader went in last year, correct?
Or was it? I believe so.
Let me check the resume here. Nope, not there. 2020. Nope, not 2023. 2022.
Was it?
Yep.
See, this proves just by itself how much we ain't really tapped in with the Hall of Fame anymore, because it's like it's lost everything that it once was. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just kind of at whoever's discretion. There's no real. It's worse than what the NFL does. Like, there's no real rhyme or reasoning. Like, there's, at least with the NFL, you get the opportunity to say, okay, the sports writers are who are responsible. So if at any point during your career or post-career, you've had a contentious relationship with sports writers or sports media, that'll kind of give an idea as to why you may have the resume but not be in the Hall of Fame. Or just recently with like Bill Belichick, where, look, most accomplished coach in NFL history is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's how, people aren't being objective about this. It's all about, how did you make me feel, not how well you did the job. But
it could also be owner's influence with that. We can pass judgment on that however we want to, but at the same time, neither did Robert Kraft get in. So there's that.
Which is even more egregious.
Well, and his is for one specific incident. Not to say he doesn't have any others, but his is for one specific incident. But he's about to, he's a lot closer to putting that other foot in the grave than he is bringing it out. To say that,
I tell you what, try that with Jerry Jones and watch what happens. And he got a bunch of incidents you can use.
Man.
Try that with Jerry Jones and watch what happens.
Vader had just passed when he got to the Hall of Fame, correct? Because his son inducted him into the Hall of Fame. Vader didn't induct himself, did he?
No. Wait. You're asking me questions I certainly don't have the answer to. Vader, right. Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he passed away in 2018, so he went in 2022.
Yeah, posthumously in 2022. Again, Vader. If you want to use the argument with me that he didn't really do enough in WWE, if that's what we were using, cool. I'd have been like, you right, because he got there in 96. By the time 98 rolled around, it was all but over with.
And in a shoot during the beginnings of the Attitude Era, he basically shamed himself because he was embarrassed for the way he was performing and also for his booking.
Yeah, it had just started to fall apart. Like the shoulder issue he had leaving WCW kind of followed him into WWF at the time. He was introduced in a really hot angle, putting his hands on Gorilla Monsoon, something that me, the youth, I had never seen because truthfully, I didn't see Gorilla Monsoon wrestle in real time. All I ever saw him was a wrestler turned announcer, and I had never seen him become physical with anyone.
And people didn't realize that the reason why Gino Morella was known as Gorilla Monsoon was because of how big he was. That was a big individual.
That and his he likes to carry large amounts of money on him for betting purposes.
Whale, water, monsoon.
You feel me? Whale. Could have been whale monsoon. Same.
But he went in the regular Hall of Fame without mention of a legacy. And then we get to Bad News Brown, who only had a very short career in WWE as Bad News Brown, but a much longer career across the world, more notably in Canada and in Japan as Bad News Allen, who was a legit tough guy, as he was a judo master, black belt in judo, if you will. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he was an Olympian. He got a bronze medal in the 1976 Montreal Olympics, the Pan Am Games when they were still a thing, 1967, 1975, gold medalist in the Pan Am Games in 1968 in the Pan Am Championships, gold medalist at 93 kilos. And so he came into WWF as just a really smug-faced black guy with a gimmick for a finish. For a very, very short stint. He was part of the WWF for a brief moment, but we're talking that's a 10-year gap between the time that he left there and went back to Canada and came back for about a year and a half. And it can be argued why he left. It just seems to me
that
that his blackness, his self-pride, love for self, if you will, was the catalyst to his exit.
I mean, he wouldn't be the first and certainly won't be the last.
Yeah. And even got into it with, went toe to toe with Andre the Giant on the bus, apparently. I mean, and but all that aside to say this, Sid had a short stint in WWF.
Several short stints, but yes.
Several during the 90s, pre-Attitude Era, no less.
He wrestled in between softball seasons.
which was so just, matter of fact, shouts out to you for that, Sid.
Like, when you really think about it, it's like, you know what? Sid is the poster child for protecting my peace. Like, you know what? Y'all ain't gonna bother me. I'm still finna go play softball. Whatever you got going on at work, that's what you got going on. But when softball season gets here, I will be in attendance.
A 6'8", 300-pound, muscle-bound softball superstar.
Yeah, you cheated him out an inch. Pause. 9, 10.
11, 12. That boy 6'12".
You feel me? 6'12". I'm using that.
So what do we? Are we just now? Is the legacy wing just for those who are no longer with us?
The legacy wing is for celebrities who really don't have anything to do with wrestling, but they've participated, and for posthumous inductions of people you don't want to have a live mic.
You can't give Sid a live mic anyway. I mean, I get that. And yeah, you probably didn't want to get Bad News Brown or Bad News Allen alive, Mike. You're right about that.
So let me prove my theory. Let me give you someone who is alive now, more than worthy of being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
We both know who you're going to say without even me knowing who you're going to say.
But them people out here listening may not. James E. Cornette
and his tennis racket
will not be inducted while he is still with us. And I feel comfortable saying that, even though he inducted the Rock and Roll Express. Now you have to look up what year that was. And
2018, I believe that was. And I can almost bet that one. Let me pull that up real quick.
And he did a fine job. He didn't say anything too inflammatory. He handled his business. He handled the business at hand. But that is not somebody that
2017, I was a year off.
Okay. But that's not somebody you would really give a live mic to when doing their own acceptance.
Do you remember how he kicked off his induction speech for the Rock and Roll Express?
It was something to the effect of, I don't believe they actually gave me a live mic, or something to that effect.
Hello, everybody. My name is James E. Cornette, and this is a live microphone.
You see what I'm saying? No one, stuff like that, that'll make you watch the Hall of Fame ceremony just because you want to see what's going to happen. Because
I can tell you, there are certain dates where certain things happen that I can tell you where I was. I can tell you exactly where I was and what I was doing.
Exactly.
It was a Friday night. I was in Arlington, Texas. I was at a Poke Bowl spot off of Matlock near the Parks Mall, and I pulled over just to watch this speech.
And send me texts while I was doing something completely different, but not in front of a TV.
I don't remember sending you texts, but I do remember having my phone or tablet in my car, eating this Poke Bowl, watching this, simply because nobody knew what to expect.
That's why you were sending me the text, because I was like, I ended up watching the ceremony like later that night just because of that.
And he only said that, and that was the only thing of shock. But you can't say that James E. Cornette has not been one of the more seminally entertaining factors in this business over the last 40 plus years. Thanks. Everything he does turns to gold. Nothing that he does turns to shit. As evidenced by the fact that
he go ahead. I ain't gonna stop. I ain't gonna debate you because it's you. If I tell you, you'll agree with me, but it'll take entirely too long and take away from what we're doing right now.
Okay, you can't land the plane real quick because I got a whole shit sheet of
not for this. Like
okay,
this one would take a deep dive to actually land the plane because you're gonna have to back it up with significant reasoning.
OVW. The reason why OVW still matters is because of James E. Cornette and his involvement in the 90s.
And the reason it matters now is nothing to do with back then.
Nope. But that's the reason why I think the reason why the brand is still relevant is because of stuff like that he and Heyman did while in OVW.
It's very much relevant to us because of what they did and who passed through those doors, getting everything situated. But yeah, now it's a completely different animal. It's OVW in name only.
It's arguable that we do not get BPBC Hall of Famer New Jack without Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Might be his great
contribution. The contributions of James E. Cornette to Smoky Mountain Wrestling as owner and promoter and booker and all these things, and he gave us the two less we got to worry about.
Shout out to Rick Rubin, aka Bankroll.
What else was he did a good time in TNA for us. Even during the 90s when WWE was trying to go head up against WCW with quick jabs,
they put him on the front line to start shooting.
They let Jim Cornette tear down the fourth wall, quote unquote, to talk about other organizations, which only WCW was doing passively, and WWE was doing with characters that they had created.
So to some of you who may not know of this or haven't seen it, it's the equivalent of Peter Griffin's What Grinds My Gears. If you watch Family Guy, it was What Grinds My Gears, but in professional wrestling.
Professional wrestling version of it. Yep. And then, of course, just the tennis racket managing the Midnight Express in the 80s. Dennis Condrey, beautiful Bobby Eaton, Loverboy Dennis Condrey. Fast forward to Sweet Stan Lane and beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to see between Mid-South and WCW or Jim Crockett Promotions, we got to see how good he was as a commentator from time to time, because he would commentate during Midnight Express matches versus being at ringside.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to the bodies.
Fast forward, yep. We also got the heavily body stock Dr. Tom Pritchard and Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. And then also with the NWA tie-in in the WWF for the brief moment, we got to see our first crossover act in the modern era with the NWA World Heavyweight Champion and UFC World Heavyweight Champion, Dan the Beast Severn, managed by Jim Cornette.
Still a top 3 entrance theme in my mind. Matter of fact, it needs to be, something needs to happen with that.
I got you. I got something to send you here in a second. Remind me to send you a picture of something, but remind me that it's related to Dan Severn's entrance music.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I'll make it make sense. This is not for everybody. This is for me and you. So just remind me of that later on this evening.
Bet that.
And then ultimately, the one thing this was for wrestling fans who were able to watch Mid-South, Mid-Southern or Continental, what have you, and Jim Crockett Promotions, hell froze over when Jim Cornette managed the Rock and Roll Express as heels on WWF television. Only because it was the NWA tie-in. So
yeah,
we just played a case that was unnecessary for Jim Cornette to be in the Hall of Fame. But because we don't know what version of Jim Cornette we're going to get on any given day, the high road is to be like, discretion is the better part of valor.
And here's the thing, if you were doing business on the up and up the whole way through every time, there wouldn't be a need for this. However, there is a laundry list of bodies, and there are some people who know where the bodies are buried, and a lot of those people will not be given an opportunity to stand up in front of a
live studio audience.
Yeah, a live studio audience or a passive crowd to be able to, share their musings. So for that, the legacy wing went from what it was or whatever the original outlook or outline for it was, and it has become 2 things. For celebrities who participated but were not centrally located in the professional wrestling business.
Back up. Let me stop you real quick. There's not one celebrity in the legacy wing. These are all wrestlers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, because this has been an ongoing thing, I'm forecasting the celebrity part, because yes, they do have a celebrity wing.
Yes.
But what do you do with a Logan Paul at some point? What do you do with a Ronda Rousey at some point? That's not a celebrity wing. But that's definitely like their careers. Okay, Bad Bunny. Like, these are people that have had like actual
wrestling careers, like actual runs.
Like, have headline pay-per-views. Like, you're gonna have to, the concept will have to morph as time goes on, because the inclusion and the participation of certain people has morphed. So that's me looking into the future.
Your pragmatism pisses me off. Continue.
I mean, if we are nothing else, we are pragmatic. However, looking at celebrities to the side, the legacy wing is a way that you can, air quotes, do right by the legacy, hint, hint, wink, wink, of certain people without having to expose yourself, your company, or your dealings to their scrutiny or their criticism in real time. Like, you can say whatever you want to over there. We just won't let you say it when we're footing the bill for it.
Do we want to talk about the sprinkle in the legacy? The legacy
Sure.
wing?
Sure, that's what we're here for.
We have talked about representation and why representation matters and being inclusive.
Because that's why this show matters.
Very true. Right, it's one reason why we have longevity and consistency. I'm going through this list. The first year I could understand because it relates to a certain era. The second year, the first I can't say because I don't know the actual origins, but Ricky Dozen sticks out because he's the first international star who was popular during a modern era to be inducted into Legacy Wing. It was only the second class.
Japanese royalty.
Rufus R. Jones sticks out. Slick's father, for those who don't know, who was a professional wrestler in Kansas City and did some time in the WWF as well. Special Delivery Jones. Swab gave you his biggest moment, 9 seconds. And then also, if we want to include Chief Wahoo McDaniel, we can do that too. Brickhouse Brown. Most WWF fans do not know who Brickhouse Brown is. The only reason why I do is because I got to see him in World Class. I got to see him in Memphis. I got to see him in Mid-South.
Sportatory royalty.
That's it.
He came to elementary school in the early 90s.
Pistol Pez Watley. Great tag team wrestler. Great mid-card singles wrestler. But his heel runs, plural, left lots to be desired. And the fact that he became part of a tag team that looked like a parody of the Fabulous Ones and a parody of the Fantastics with Melanin kills me. Literally copy, cut, and paste with Melanin.
Proof that playing ball does not always lead to you balling out.
The only reason why I'm okay with him being in any wing of this Hall of Fame is because he's a member of my dear esteemed fraternity.
Hey, anybody who went along with those two gimmicks you speak of is like, you know what, they've earned this. You know what, you were a good sport.
Good, yeah. You were a good hand. And he was legit tough guy too. Was short and built like a bulldog.
That's the part that be killing me. Like, some of the ones that y'all painted as absolute goofballs would be the ones that. Okay. I'm trying to think of another person who kind of occupies that space. Bad News Allen, obviously, because you done G-checked Andre the Giant. That I guarantee you that list isn't more than 5 people long.
And especially in the time in our community, we were battling within ourselves, light skin versus dark skin, and the dark skins were known as the angry black men and the light skins were the softies. And because of that, there was a pivotal shift in how women saw us during that time frame.
Stigma still being fought to this very day, but yeah, come on with it.
Not as aggressive as it was then, because it became a thing through movies, and through movies, it hit the streets. Because back then, the streets dictated the TV. Now the TV dictates the streets. Same with the music.
I stop you when you start lying.
Bad News Allen was the epitome of angry black man on TV.
Because and that is a stigma that continues, and it spreads across melanated cultures, period. You only know how to enjoy us we're only palatable in two forms. The angry guy who's the antagonist, essentially the bad guy, and then the entertainment value. So you're either Farouk or you're R-Truth.
And that there's another issue. Like Ron Simmons is in the Hall of Fame, absolutely. Farouk should never be in the Hall of Fame because you put this cosmic leather helmet on this guy and made him a Muslim during the time where the most infamous black person in the world was Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Version 2.0 of Farouk is definitely a Hall of Famer to me.
Absolutely. But not Farouk. What was his nickname when he was managed by Sonny? He had a nickname.
Some modern
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, the Nation of Domination, absolutely, as a collective, Hall of Famers.
Then Acolyte / APA, of course, that's goated.
Acolyte, not so much, because sadly, it's because of Don Callis. Acolyte Protection Agency, goated. Don Callis took Bradshaw and Ron Simmons out of obscurity. They were floundering in obscurity.
But I'm also thinking about Ministry of Darkness when they were the Acolytes. So that when I say Acolytes, that's the version.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking about the Inception, which was Don Callis. And that did not last long.
You're thinking about that small window between the Truth Commission and
Yep. But anyway, but you talked me off the ledge though now, because like what you described as the legacy wing as morphing has already happened. So it was like the olden days, and you coming up now. Now we have more modernized people and so far this year, the two legacy inductees are no longer with us. So that tracks into a morphing because you had people who were pivotal in certain eras that competed with WWE, WWF, and then competed in WWE, WWF in relevant times, who had recently passed, that were in that wing, who should have gone in at the same clip as, say, a Vader.
What did Shad go in as?
He was a Warrior Award recipient. I don't even have to look that up.
So he I think now what I think on this one is I think he was the last wrestler, maybe the only wrestler to receive the Warrior Award because of him saving a life to succumb to being a hero, which kind of makes me feel like the Warrior Award transitioned to a legacy situation. And if anybody should have been in a legacy wing, it would have been Shad because of the legacy he created by what contributed to his untimely demise.
Yeah, we should be reminded every year about Shad Gaspard's contribution, not just to professional wrestling, but to the legacy that he left behind, the legacy that he saved.
Rename the award.
We would not be talking about him like this had he lost, and I don't wish this upon anybody, had he lost his son. We would feel sorry for him as a tragedy that happened to him, and he would make it a stronger story. However, because he was a oversized man who did the right thing as a loving parent and was swept away, that's something that we will never forget. And that's regardless of what this kid ends up doing in life, we know what he does has to be a direct reflection of the payoff of what his dad gave up for him.
Shad operated in real time with the morality that the internet only dreams of.
Wrap it up, Suave. That's it. The whole word done. Yeah. Take him to the house. I'm that.
Hey, pencil pushers, like, rate, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell that friend to tell a friend, and then tell that friend again.
Yeah.
At Broken Pencil BC on all things social, brokenpencilbc@gmail.com.
At Broken Pencil BC on what?
Everything
And
everything. Heads up, pencils down.
10 bell salute on you.
Yeah.
And now on that note, because of how you ended that suave,
Yeah.
this is for Lord Sear. This is for Loverboy Dennis Condrey. This is for the Legacy Award recipients for 2026 and past.
Whole lot of fucking gang shit.